"My daughter Irene," said Mrs. Carstyle, she made it rhyme with tureen, "has had no social advantages, but if Mr. Carstyle had chosen—" She paused significantly and looked at the shabby sofa on the opposite side of the fireplace, as though it had been Mr. Carstyle. Vibart was glad that it was not. Mrs. Carstyle was one of the women who make refinement vulgar. She invariably spoke of her husband as Mr. Carstyle, and though she had but one daughter, was always careful to designate the young lady by name. At luncheon, she had talked a great deal of elevating influences and ideals, and had fluctuated between apologies for the overdone mutton and affected surprise that the bewildered maidservant should have forgotten to serve the coffee and liqueurs as usual. Vibart was almost sorry that he had come. Miss Carstyle was still beautiful, almost as beautiful as when 2 days earlier, against the leafy background of a June garden party, he had seen her for the first time. But her mother's expositions and elucidations cheapened her beauty, as signposts vulgarize a woodland solitude. Miss Carstyle's eye was perpetually plying between her daughter and Vibart, like an empty cab in quest of a fare. Miss Carstyle, the young man decided, was the kind of girl whose surroundings rub off on her. Or was it rather that Mrs. Carstyle's idiosyncrasies were of a nature to color everyone within reach? Vibart, looking across the table as this consolatory alternative occurred to him, was sure that they had not colored Mr. Carstyle, but that, perhaps, was only because they had bleached him instead. Mr. Carstyle was quite colorless. It would have been impossible to guess his native tint. His wife's qualities, if they had affected him at all, had acted negatively. He did not apologize for the mutton, and he wandered off after luncheon without pretending to wait for the diurnal coffee and liqueurs, while the few remarks that he had contributed to the conversation during the meal had not been in the direction of abstract conceptions of life. As he strayed away, with his vague oblique step, and the stoop that suggested the habit of dodging missiles, Vibart, who was still in the age of formulas, found himself wondering what life could be worth to a man who had evidently resigned himself to traveling with his back to the wind, so that Mrs. Carstyle's allusion to her daughter's lack of advantages, imparted while Irene searched the house for an undiscoverable cigarette, had an appositeness unintended by the speaker. "If Mr. Carstyle had chosen," that lady repeated, "we might have had our city home." She never used so small a word as town, and Irene could have mixed in the society which I myself was accustomed at her age. Her sigh pointed unmistakably to a past when young men had come to luncheon to see her.